Amy, I bought another moissanite ring. Okay, so it's a jewelry item, another, but ring also.
Oh, Amy got it this time. Wow.
No,
Good
I'm just
job.
no, I'm telling Amy that I
Oh,
got it.
oh, oh. I thought you said Amy got it. I thought,
No, I said Amy, I got it. So yes,
wow,
I was just
wow. Two moissanite rings. Wow.
no, say no. I was just telling Amy that this is. I just bought that one.
That you got it earlier. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. We're live, Beena. We're live. I think so.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. No,
One
whether we
moment.
need
Zoom
to wait for the grain.
grain is
Fix
coming.
your
One
corner.
moment.
Fix your corner.
I can't. I can't.
Okay.
It's not.
Okay.
I'm
No
gonna
problem.
try, but yeah,
No, it's not a problem. Just leave it. Okay.
yeah. It's just weird.
Hello and welcome and good morning, Syl. Hello.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just saying good morning. How are
Oh
you?
yeah, yeah. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah. Well, I'm here. I'm here. I'm trying to
Yes.
get the
Okay.
camera properly zoomed in. I have no
No
idea what
problem. No
changed the
problem.
camera.
So first, still congratulations for your third uh, podcast series, and that was wonderful. Yes, besides all the trouble, the communications, and everything, but again, uh, we see that when we do something big, something unusual, something unfamiliar, not in that sense, particular usual sense of unfamiliar, because Syl is doing lives like all the day. It's like everyday thing. It's like the but in a limited time and doing it professionally is a different thing, and he was doing that. So when people do that, and when something has a big huge energy, really live live energy, uh, it creates a bit of friction there. And then sometimes you see that in the, like, okay, having trouble in the communication and all sort of things, which is part of it, which is part of the process. So nothing is like, okay, oh yeah, it's a big, oh, it was a mess. Nothing. It is just that part of the process. Change is, even the smoothest change is a bit of chaos, because you are changing, you are doing something. So you are changing your horizon, you are changing your field, you are changing your comfort zone, whatever it is going to create some sort of chaos. So we just need to learn with this, and we just need to live by this also, that these few things here and there are just part of the process. What is the main thing, the main object is, and Syl was sharing today, and it was wonderful, because for me it's a completely different experience to hear Syl while I'm not there. I had like so many times I had like, okay, come on, I want to ask him this, I want to ask him that, and of course like, okay, I have to listen, just listen. So for me it's a different experience also, when he is there and I'm listening to him, but I'm not able to ask him any question. It's a different experience, which is good for me also, to practice listening, to work more on my patience and all that. Anyway, today, welcome Norma. I assume that you are there, and of course, welcome Brain and whoever
Yes.
is going to watch us live and record it also. Please do like, comment, and share on our YouTube, because today we were live on YouTube also. I assume that this is how things were happening, and the live streaming was available on YouTube and on Instagram. And this is how we are going to do that. Everything is coming just on its own time, and it's all perfect. So today's thought is, I'm excited about this new thing. For me it's a new thing, for me it's a big thing, but also in the back of my mind I was waiting for that as something like duh. This is my degree of power term, that's why I use it very often, because it was duh. This is the initiate, the think point of where Syl Sabastian actually belongs to. For me it's like, okay, yes, but of course I'm excited. Of course I'm like, okay, oh yes, so this is happening, this is finally happening. For me the joy is all into that, finally it is happening, it is starting. But in the back of my mind it was all there, my subconscious was aware that he belongs to somewhere, of course here also, but also somewhere else. And still it's a long way to go.
When you say
And
somewhere else, be more specific, please.
yes, because we're
Just from an
actually
intent
millions of
point of
people.
view.
Yes, so millions of people can actually listen to you and hear you, and
Oh,
they're
thank you, Beena.
hearing,
See, that's a
and they
big
can
difference
follow
to
you.
say belonging somewhere else.
Yes, and
Belonging somewhere else can mean anything. Yeah.
they can really start following the nobelia.org. So then ultimately, which means that okay, they are going to practice Nobelia-Living. This is what I see, and this is
Yes.
what I want to
Yes.
see in my life, that okay, this is going to happen. This is the starting point of this, reaching
Yes.
out. And all we can
Yes.
do is yes, sometimes people say that, oh, it's too ambitious, you are doing all this. It's not ambition at all.
Yeah.
It is just being appropriate to be where you want to be, and just then do your best, be impeccable, and then let it go. Then of course things, the universe is going to, the universal force or the intent, capital I intent, is going to take care of everything else.
Yeah.
All what we can do in our life, in the context of everything in our life, like in relationships, in personal development and growth, in our business career, in our domestic life, all we can do is try to be appropriate and impeccable, and that's it. After that, don't get
Yes.
attached to that. Don't get like really expect some specific results and solutions. No, just be appropriate, do your things, and just let it go, and then see the magic, because universe is always there. And of course, person like him who has such an amazing patience, really such an amazing patience. I don't
Oh.
want to use that particular word anymore, because you don't need to
Oh,
have
it's a
that.
good word. It's a good word. Patience is a
No, I don't
superpower.
want you to have that. The- I don't want you to have that. Of course, you have it, but you don't need to exercise and
Have what?
practice
Have what?
that
I'm confused.
that
But
that ridiculous patience anymore, because things are going to happen and they are happening already. So
backtrack. You don't want me to have the need for it, not the patience
exactly,
itself.
exactly. This
Ah,
is what
well,
I was
say
trying
that,
to say.
please. Say that. So
Yes,
rephrase.
yes. I don't want you to have the need to practice or
Thank you.
exercise your ridiculous patience
Thank you.
anymore in your
Thank
life,
you.
in any
Thank you.
aspect of your life. You are just
Thank
going,
you.
because this is what is happening. All things are just getting in place and happening now. So you will not get
Oh,
a chance to practice your ridiculous patience anymore. You will
Um,
get all those things. Yes.
yes. Yes, thank you. Now it's not just me being fiddly or pedantic. I'm I'm
Wow.
I'm emphasizing Venus' particular precision because words are power, and we need to pay attention to precisely what we say, because
Yes.
like Bina was saying, for me not to have the patience, the ridiculous patience. Wow, thank you, Bina. That's not a
No,
nice wish. I want to keep my thing, but that's not what you
no, I
meant.
didn't say that. You didn't listen to me. I was saying,
Well, you did say it in those words. It's not what you meant, but it's what you said. So that's why I asked you to say it specifically, to say you don't want me to have the need for ridiculous patience. Yes, I agree. Thank you very much. Very important. Yeah.
okay, anyway, I was saying that, and but the construction of the sentence was like I was saying the need after that, and it was all
Oh
got
well.
caught up into this. Yes, so I was saying that you didn't need to, but it was, of course, the lack of the proper appropriate construction of the sentence from my side.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
yes, I completely agree with you that words are like really, they have power. I love this quote from I think Ursula something, I don't know, but that words are events, they happen.
Well,
Every word has a power, they really, so we have to very wisely choose our
exactly.
words, and especially
Exactly.
when it comes to setting intents.
Precisely. That's the thing too, that our talking is an intent.
Exactly, yes,
Because
yes, you're
when
right.
you talk, you have an intent to be honest, to be real, to be genuine, to act with integrity, right? So whatever you say, it's under that. It's an implied intent, but because your talking is actualized, you are implementing that intent. That's why what you
Yes,
say has power. If
yes,
you say, "Oh, I'm such a silly person," you're gonna make that true. Why? Because otherwise, you just go around talking nonsense to say, "Oh, I'm such a fool. I'm such an idiot." Yeah, you don't want to be a liar, right? So this is a big deal, a very big deal. Very big deal. Yeah, words have power, and this is. I was putting it into the beginning of the book that we're reading, the Biella book. I was saying there that Biella capitalizes the terms like patience. She always capitalizes patience because patience means more than just the regular patience. For Biella and everyone associated with Biella, but particularly now Biella, patience is a superpower. And patience is something that's not just, oh well, I can wait for a little bit and then no, she has ridiculous patience, true real patience, where you're never at the mercy of time and things like that, right? So well, I'm not going to go into patience right now. It's for another time maybe, or we have done so before. But the point is that she capitalizes terms like patience, like integrity, like impeccability, like discernment, because they mean more. And and in the book, I was saying, this Biella has this unusual way of writing that she's capitalizing, and she's doing it for emphasis, but also she's doing it not just for the emphasis, because some people inappropriately use it for emphasis, but she's doing it because these are terms and conceptions in her dictionary of power. Yes. And that is what makes the big difference. That being in her dictionary of power. Now, what does this mean, the dictionary of power? Now, dictionary of power, you want to enter like a dictionary, you want to write what your understanding is over time. You want to keep updating that, not changing it, but updating it. Keep the old understandings. It will show you the growth of your awareness. But more than that, the dictionary of power is a dictionary. And it could be a list. Yeah, no, it's a dictionary. What is a dictionary for? It's about words we use. Yes. So in this dictionary of power, the point of it is not only to list all of the words and what's their conceptions. They're more than words, they're conceptions. All of the conceptions which are important to you, that matter, that make a difference, right? That you want to bring into yourself, like discernment. Yes, I want more discernment. Yeah. By bringing this and putting into your dictionary of power, you see all of what matters to you, what's important. But furthermore, in Way of Impeccability, the task, once you make your dictionary of power, is your task is to speak and use those conceptions in your daily, day-to-day language. You say, yeah, but why? The people that I hang out with, when I'm using terms like impeccability or discernment or whatever, they're like, huh, where you come from? Well, then change your friends if they're really going to be frowning at you. Yeah. I'm serious. Yeah. But even in family, you can't necessarily change your family. They just need to get used to it and get over it. Why is this important? Because if you're talking about things like impeccability and integrity and discernment, etc., if this is part of your daily language, you're going to become that. Why? Because you can't be talking about things and not doing it, not applying it. You'll just be a big phony. You'll just be shallow and hollow and a big liar. And you can't be that. Yes, you can't. Just as a good person, you can't do that. So you're going to become what you're talking about. Yes. Now, of course, you have to make some effort as well, right? Otherwise, you're also going to be just full of it. Yes. Now, this is really crucial. So it's very important to understand this. It's very, very important to understand this, how this works. Our language shapes who we are. Yeah? Now, and not just in an ordinary sense. When we're talking about things like I'm going to the supermarket and stuff like this, those are things which don't change you, because you are not talking about things that are actually who you are. But when you talk about conceptions, that does make a difference to who you are. Things like patience and discipline and integrity and honor and impeccability, etc. Right? And more, even dictionary of power is full of moreness. Take trust, for instance. Yes, when we talk about trust, capital T trust, Nobelia trust, this is a very different thing to regular trust. The difference between intent and intention. I hear this word intention, it's thrown around all over the show. And actually, we have Wayne Dyer to thank for that. He started this thing with intention, and he didn't think it through all the way to the end, and he didn't understand the difference between intent and intention. And he did the world a great disservice. He was very popular, and he popularized this concept of intention. It really wasn't in in common language before him. His big book on it brought it out. But if you don't understand what you're saying, you end up making yourself a bit hollow. You may think so, and but when you really think it through, oh, that's what I'm. Oh, okay, I didn't realize this. Yes, but again, it's obvious once it's obvious. So it's not obvious before it's obvious. My point here being that we need to really, really pay attention to what we say and how we say it. It all matters. It determines and defines who you are. Yeah, and not only how you are
Exactly.
in the terms, but your ability to express clearly means you are clear about what you are expressing. And when you have that clarity of mind, it's much easier to have clarity of intent. And when you know what you are doing, it changes everything. It changes everything. Yes.
Exactly. Exactly.
Very, very big deal, in other words. Very, very big deal. All right. Now, what is our topic for today? Uh, Before we get
Sorry, say it
going,
again.
our
Yes.
topic for today, what we're going to
Yes.
read, the chapter, it's in the title. Yes.
Oh, I thought we are going to just watch the video again and then we will go like, okay, your
I don't
podcast and
have
then.
it ready yet, Beena. I don't
Okay,
have
okay,
it ready. Yeah. Yeah.
okay,
So that's tomorrow. Now, this with a video, again, which video are you talking about for somebody who just joined?
okay. Your today's podcast.
Today's podcast interview. Yes, episode 3 of our podcast series with Jill Nicolini. That video is not available. Now, they broadcast it live in audio only. I
Yes.
double checked and got confirmation. They don't do a live broadcast in the video. They repeat the video and they show it everywhere on other things, and the same with the audio. And they edit in case you accidentally swear or something, right? But it's interesting that they even do the live. But I guess they're confident enough on live. All right. Now, furthermore, before we get going, there is one other point. Hello, Norma. I'm not sure if you're here or not. I hope so. But if not, also all good. Also good. Uh, let's hope that Victor comes and joins. Somebody in one of the chats who said, I want to recommend self-awareness or discipline books or ebooks. Yeah, well, we're doing a daily live where we're reading this and discussing it, and you can comment and ask, and you can be interactive. Yeah. The other point that I want to make here is that, not a point, but I guess something to mention, is that today is kind of fun. It's a little different and new in this that we are live on Facebook and YouTube simultaneously. You might say, well, okay, big deal. Well, you know what? It's a bigger deal than you might think. It was a lot harder to actually do. You would think it would be
Yes.
very simple, but no, it was a lot of fiddliness and rigmarole and everything there. And we finally got that thing.
Are you there?
1 second.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead. Say what you're going to say. Sorry.
Okay. So I was just saying about the live, being live on YouTube also. I'm here. Norma says, Norma, yes, wonderful. Norma is here. And I was thinking that it is going to be duh, yes, it has to be just click that, but it was not. I asked her that, okay, yes, I want to do that. And it took a lot of time and energy and effort to make it possible. But now, of course, it is done,
Yeah.
or of course, and it needs a lot of resistance and all patience and all those things. I was just saying
Yeah.
that sometimes why I was sharing again that it sometimes we assume that okay, it is going to be just one step thing and it is going to be all wonderful. It has to be as they are claiming, the other people are claiming about, but it takes your personal effort to make it your own thing, to be thorough. Once we set our intent that we want to be thorough, then everything actually asks us, demand from us that okay, be patient, pay attention,
Yes.
all those
Yes.
things then thoroughly and properly and all that. It is also a consequence of the
Yes.
intent because we set our intent that we want to be thorough in everything, in every act, in every action, response, and reactions, and everything. So this is what is coming. It can be simple, yes, but of course, But once it is done, after being thorough, when you pay attention to and when you really put some effort and energy, then it's a done deal forever. It is not
Yeah.
going to trouble you anymore,
Yeah.
like, oh, yes, something like disastrous happened to us. No, if you really need to do something, Syl is aware of how to do those things, how to make it happen. So now it
Yeah.
is his thing. That's it. So this is what I was keen when you were sharing about the live YouTube live, and then you were quiet. So I said, okay, yes,
Yeah.
I can share that too.
Yeah.
When the
And
time
and
is
I'm working on getting it where we'll not only be simultaneously live on YouTube, but also on Instagram and TikTok, and maybe even on LinkedIn. Not that LinkedIn is a big deal, but certainly it would be fun to go live on Instagram and TikTok. Even though we tend to go long, 2 hours on average, that
Mhm.
may be a bit long for Instagram and TikTok, but too bad. Too bad. You know, this culture of
Yes.
short attention span. If you want moreness out of your life, you have to be willing to go into depth a little bit. Yes, we are so
Mm.
conditioned to, oh, I want it quick and easy, and oh, to go in depth and take time and really think it through. No, 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 no. And you know, we're averse to this. Who came up with this idea? Shallow people, dear men's who want to protect their own shallowness. No, don't take your culture from the worst of us. Take your culture from the best of us. Yeah. Why? Why do we take the culture from the worst? Because we're lazy sometimes. And well, okay, you know, that makes it convenient. Okay, I will think a bit more, but I don't really have to make an effort because culture says I don't have to. It's convenient. No, no, don't settle for this. Don't settle for this. It's you make yourself less for no good reason other than simple conformity. And that's not a good reason. That's not a good reason. I mean, if you're going to do it because you yourself really want to do it. Yeah. Not because somebody's telling you to do so. Yeah.
Exactly.
Big deal. Big
Exactly.
deal. Big deal. Big deal. All right. I'm going to changing my background because we're going to do the reading of that chapter, and that's one of the pictures in the chapter. And we'll screen share and we'll start reading. Brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. All right. While this is going, Beena, I
Yes.
want to just share. This is called Restream. There's others like StreamYard or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
this is a platform, a service, software, I guess, that allows me to multiple stream. See, there's streaming, and the
Oh,
little green dot is flashing there. You see, streaming. You see it
yes.
there?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Now, Beena, please leave me a comment.
Okay.
You're on the live, right?
Yes, I'm going there.
I mean, normally Norma's there and she leaves comments, but Norma, you know, can't always depend on Norma. I mean, not, I'm not saying Norma's undependable. I mean, in the sense that, you know, Norma's also got other things in her life that happens and she can't be here every day. I mean, I love when she is here, but I don't want to make it an expectation or obligation. Did you leave a comment, Beena?
I'm going there.
Oh. Just a short one. You can add more later, but someone
Yes.
to demonstrate what I'm doing. So if you're going to write a long comment, it's going to stretch the time out. So a quick comment I should have asked for.
Just a minute, sir. I'm doing something. Oh, I can't do that. Okay. Yes. Okay, I can. First thing I'm doing is I made a comment on YouTube chat.
On the YouTube live?
Yes. Yes. I know
Oh,
you
good.
asked me. Yes, you asked me to do that on the in the group, but I
Either way is fine. Either way is fine.
yes.
So
Yes, I
look
did.
what happened. Look what happened.
Yes,
I
I'm
am
coming.
here. I don't know who I is. I assume that's Beena there. Yeah.
No, I
But
didn't
you
say
see,
that. No, I didn't
fine.
say that. This is Norma who is saying on the Facebook. So you're
Oh,
seeing
oh, oh, brilliant. Oh, brilliant. Okay, I didn't see that comment yet, but this is fantastic. Now, are you looking at screen? At
yes.
Okay, so in the restream, right, it's showing me what shows on that shows for you. I have to change my Zoom to make it speaker view and not gallery view. It doesn't give me that option anymore now. It just says custom live stream. Huh. Okay. I had the option. Oh, there it is. It was just hidden under that. Speaker. There we go. Right. And now it doesn't show. You're only seeing me now, correct? Yeah.
Yes.
Which you see that it will change here in a moment. But this marvelousness, Norma, on the tube, grin. Yes, yes, Norma, yes. What is so nice is that in this restream, I see the comments, yeah, in real time,
Yes.
that slight
Yes.
delay. The
Yes.
train never turns up. Yeah, it can come a little late. I see. But see, and I can also respond to these. Yes.
Yes.
I'm not sure how. I know I can. Yeah. I think type a message, but I don't know where the message is going to go. So let me test this. Yes, yeah, yeah. Love. Yeah, Norma. See, mention the name so that anybody else seeing the comment knows what I'm talking about. Now, I don't know where that comment is going to go to. I clicked on Norma and then I clicked here to type. So I'm assuming
Hmm.
that will, it puts it in Restream. Yeah, that doesn't help me. How do I reply? There is a way that I can reply here in real time. Another Facebook user says hello and welcome. I don't know who
Yes,
that says.
I'm doing this.
Oh, that
I
well,
am doing
I was going to
this.
say, judging from the emoticons, that's Beena. But I need to figure out how to reply to this. Yeah. No, but there is a way. There is a way in real time. I can reply to you, yeah, but I'm not seeing it anywhere. Yeah, yeah. See, there it is. There it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
It says read only. Oh, okay. I have to
Okay.
change
Okay,
that.
so
But I can reply on. I can reply on YouTube. I don't know why I can't reply to. That's very odd. Okay. Okay. So they are replied on YouTube. Why won't it this year? See the Facebook, it says read only. Why? All right. Well, I have to go and change the settings somewhere. But that doesn't matter. I can easily switch right here to Facebook or yeah, I have it up twice. And yeah, I have the comments. But you see, none of those comments are showing here. And it's always
hmm.
been my bane, to see these comments. Uh,
Yes.
and I have to refresh every time. But now when I'm in Restream, it shows it here, which is great. Now, all right, I am screen sharing also, so that's why it shows this multiple window thing. But never mind. We're
Hmm.
going to do our own thing, and I'll set this over here so that I can see this. And Norma, I will be able to see your comments in real time so much better now. I wonder if I can drag this a bit smaller. No, I guess not. Okay. All right. Anyway, and this is very cool. This is just great. Yeah, I'll set it this way. See, then the comments are a bit more condensed, and we have better screen space for this. Yeah, and I can see
Yes.
Zoom. I can see everything now. So very cool. Very cool. All right. And hopefully at some point in time, we'll see Beena's video as well. Yep. I like seeing Beena. I know it's late at night for her and all that, but still, I do like seeing you occasionally, Beena, even if it's just every now and then.
Okay.
I don't even remember what you look like. No, that doesn't show me who you are. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's better that you have a picture, which you didn't have before. I mean, that definitely
Oh,
helps.
yes.
Okay. Let's get to reading. Let's get to reading on this today. Right. Can you see, Beena?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Honest discernment. So speak to me, quote, So speak to me on how you personally discern the difference between mine and honest inner voice. Oh, wonderful question.
Yeah.
A different response from Biella as it involves some interaction with a friend, Limo, an excellent glimpse into not only Biella, but into discussions and in-depth interactions. Syl Sabastian. Limo, so speak to me on how you personally discern the difference between mind and honest inner voice, between what is really the best action for you to take and emotional reaction, between when one should take action and when one should just listen, between knowing your heart and the deception of the mind. I'll come back. I'm working today. Biela, I'll add in my
1 second before we continue.
yes.
I want to just let somebody know that we have a Lamo conversation. What chapter are we
Okay, and
on?
by okay,
Chapter
by the way,
22.
this is your screen is just cutting off my written part.
Yes, because I don't use this, and don't worry about it. It will go back away in a second, because I'll switch back to the restream and then this on top. See, now it's all the way I want it
Yes.
to be. Yeah.
Okay.
And since I can't respond here to Facebook, let me, if I need to respond on Facebook, then there. See, now it won't cut it off.
Mm.
Right? You see, it will be right.
Yes.
Okay, a little bit more. Okay, there we go. There we go. I just hoping Lisa will come and listen. To the limo one. Yeah. All right. Brilliant.
Okay. Okay. Biela, I'll add in my end paragraph to start with. Seems most helpful when it's a long story. It all
Yeah.
comes down
So this
to
is something just before hang on. Something that in the last chapter, I think, or one of the previous chapters, also the one on gaming, I
Mhm.
started the chapter with the end paragraph. Yeah, and we're going to have it here to do as well. It's really interesting as a technique. I've never seen this before, where you have the first paragraph and the last paragraph are exactly the same.
Mm.
Yeah, you didn't even
Oh,
notice it when it happened the other time.
no.
I think it's very cool. I think it's really cool because it really puts your mind in that space, right? And now,
Mm.
especially when you're aware of it, like that's why I'm drawing attention to it, because it was in the gaming one. It was a very
Okay.
long chapter, but when
Okay.
you're aware of it, you start to read this chapter with, oh, how did Biella come to this end paragraph, conclusion, summation, whatever? How did she get there? And now your mind fills it in as we go through it. And then, when you get to the end, see? Or at least hopefully, that's what
Yeah.
happens. Yeah. Isn't that
Yes.
something? Isn't that something?
Yes.
Just put this back so I can see Norma. So please comment away, Norma. Comment away. Yeah, we're familiar with that. The tube is a train, right? Right. Well, at least the tube is the underground train service, not just regular train,
Yes.
underground train.
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
Norma.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean that's the way we understand it to mean. Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant, brilliant. But yes. So again, to be on the tube, I guess that's when you're walking on the street above it and you feel the vibrations underneath you. Yeah. As opposed to be on TV. Yeah. The London tube, by the way, when we traveled in Europe, we took the tubes, London and in Paris and maybe somewhere else too. But the London tube, the London Underground, well, we did in New York as well. New York, it was a miserable experience. It wasn't very fun at all. I mean, you were on guard all the time. It was dirty and, but in the London Underground it was pristine. At least when we went there, absolutely pristine, not a single drop of litter anywhere, and it was beautiful. And it wasn't just that it was no litter; it was clean and neat and tidy. Pure walls, no graffiti, none of that. Plus, they had beautiful music from live musicians, which were there, um, not just busking. They were there. Um, by the tube authorities had said for them to be there. Yes, they were busking, but they were there at the request or specifically appointed or whatever. I don't know how exactly the procedure worked, but boy, that was fantastic. I remember there was somebody who was playing a violin, and the tubes are kind of connected. Sometimes you had to walk quite far, and you couldn't see the musician, but of course the sound in the tube carried that sound. And it was fantastic. It was really a wonderful experience. Of all the tubes that we went on, the London tube absolutely stood out. It was just a really pleasurable Moreness experience at that time. I don't know when last you were on the tube, Norma, as I know you drive. Norma's been around for a while, and she drives. I love this. I love your independence, Norma. I just love it. It's just too brilliant. Anyway, um, so I don't know when last you were in the tube, but I am curious, if the tube is still like that. I really hope so. The Paris tube was really nice too, and I think the Paris tube did some art in it, if I'm not mistaken. But it didn't quite stand out as much as the London tube. The Paris tube, though, what was nice about it is that the entrances to the tubes, they were very close in the neighborhoods. So you came out and you were like right there. So anyway, just great experiences. Yeah. Before we get going on this, I know I'm digressing quite a lot, and we're going to come back to this, and we'll reread this. Start from here, Norma, Beena, when you start. Um, you know, but what I wanted to say, if there's any one thing that I will recommend to do in your life as a physical doing, that's travel. Yes. Make a point and an effort to travel. If you live in a country like America, there's no excuse. Even if you make a minimum wage and you can save, even if you can save 100 a month, you can go traveling once a year. Yes. It's not that
Yes.
expensive. The tickets aren't that expensive. And, like we got, it's called a Eurail pass. I'm assuming they still have them, but you bought it ahead of time and, it cost a little bit, but you could take any train anywhere in Europe for free. And we slept on the train a lot of the times, not all the time, but, to save our money. We didn't have that money. And then, maybe once a week, go stay in a hotel, whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So there are different ways to do things. I'm just saying, traveling is, yes, in some ways it can be expensive, but it's not necessarily expensive. Yes. And don't eat fast food. We buy a loaf of bread and you buy some cold cuts and cheese and you make your own sandwiches or peanut butter and jam because, the cold cuts can go bad. And put peanut butter and jam in your backpack. Uh, you know what? You can live on a week on peanut butter and jam if you don't all fussy and have all this other nonsense, right? You don't have to spend a lot of money on food. I'm just saying, my point that I'm making here is make a point to do it. It's within your means. Yes. And today, especially, minimum wage has gone up incredibly and the cost of travel has actually come down. Yeah. So there's lots of youth hostels, all sorts of things. And again, make friends with people overseas. I mean, I know Beena and her friends, yes, and
Yeah.
other participants. They have extended very real invitations for Beena to come and stay with them for weeks, never
Yes.
mind a day or two. Yes. So
No,
Beena
it
can
was
come
for
to
three
America
months.
3 months. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Exactly. So Beena can come and she can stay in America, in the different parts of America, as long as she kind of needs to. She could probably stay here for a year or two without needing to pay for anything. Yeah. And she doesn't have to pay for food, anything. You my guest. I want to take care of you. It's not a problem. I'm trying to make the point that this thing of travel is transformative. It is transformative. because it's not just about seeing things. Again, if you're going to travel, like when we traveled, we can go to the tourist stuff. Yeah, there maybe, but that's not the intent. If you're just going to go to see things and gawk, you see it and you're gone, and then what? How's your life changed? All right, I saw what the Eiffel Tower looks like. Big whoop. Yeah, it's about experience.
Yes.
And that London Tube is a really good example, yes, of people doing something differently. Yes. And if you go to, if you know the tube like from in New York, you can't
Yes.
believe it's like you went to a different planet, a different world compared to the tube in New York. Yeah, I mean it's like, wow, really? It blows your mind because you suddenly realize that the New York tube, and it's not only New York, there are other tubes like this in other places in the world. New York just famous for it. It doesn't need to be that way. It doesn't need to be that way. Or you don't need to live in New York and drive on that tube. You can move to London if you want to. Yeah. In our world today, we have a lot more freedom to move around or to other cities within America potentially. My point is that it makes you aware that the world is not the way you think it is. Yeah? Doesn't work the way you think it does. And that's a very deep spiritual point as well, not just in the ordinary sense. But when you see different people, how they do, how they work, how they operate, especially if you're paying attention to that sort of thing and you're not going as a tourist, don't go traveling as a tourist. You can get on YouTube and you can be a tourist and go all over the world and see stuff. It's lame. It really doesn't make all that much difference. We think it does, but that's a tourist industry that's selling you that, oh, your life is going to be transformed by seeing I don't know, this bridge or that bridge or whatever, this building. No, it doesn't make any difference really. But when you experience things and you really see this, this is a big deal. That people can be different. It's the implications, in other words, like on that tube. Yeah. Yes, it was nice to look at and nice to listen, sound, and experience, but it's the totality that made the difference. Yeah. All right. Please read again, yeah, Beena, from this limo over here.
I'm going to start from the beginning. Honest
Well,
discernment.
you don't need to because this is the same as the beginning. That's why I'm saying
Okay.
start from here.
Okay. Okay. Limo. So speak to me on how you personally discern the difference between mind and honest inner voice, between what is really the best action for you to take an emotional reaction, between when one should take action and when one should just listen, between knowing your heart and the deception of the mind. I'll come back. I'm working today, Biella. I'll add in my end paragraph to start with. Seems most helpful when it's a long story. So,
Brilliant. Before you start there, Facebook user, I'm assuming that's you, Norma. This doesn't unfortunately show me your icon here, so I'm just assuming that's you. Says I have traveled all Europe and Liberia, etc., etc. Wow, 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 wow. Very cool, Norma. Very cool. If that is Norma, I'm hoping so. I'm hoping so. That's really cool. That's really cool. It's one of the things I want to do again is go traveling. I'd like to go to the east, for instance, and it's again, it's completely different. All parts of the world are different. Even within a country, you go from one region to another. There's difference. There's a big difference that we don't always know is there, and it's very key. It's very key to see this. Very helpful. Very useful. Very powerful. All right. So I'm hoping that it's Norma who's the one. Yes, it is Norma. It is Norma. All right. Cool. 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 I recognize you, Norma, from your um from your from your style. Norma says Beena is the sunlight. Oh yes, yes. So are you.
thank you.
You are
We
too.
all are. We all are.
You the sunshine. I don't. You always call me Syl Sunshine, but you are too, Norma. You are just a marvelous, marvelous ray of sunshine and a whole star system. Never mind, just a ray. Very cool. Very cool. All right. Please continue reading, Beena. Please continue reading.
Okay. It all comes down to maintaining perspective and to creating perspective. Whenever we are at a loss in terms of what to do or think or act or choose, all we have to do in order to get clarity is create additional perspective. This is the key. It is why abstracting is a cornerstone. When we abstract, we instantly create additional perspective. When we have perspectives, we can see things in context, and when we can see things in connection to all context, it all becomes simple, and then life is easy. So, as a simple answer, I would just say zoom out. The issue
Ah,
as your present, it is premised on personal inner parameters. I aim to solve these types of problems by bypassing both mind and inner voice, by taking the personal out of the equation as much as possible. The essential problem is one of judgment, of trusting our decision-making process. To me, my decision-making process, no matter how good I believe it to be, is limited. Just as in computers, no matter how good the computer is, its results are determined by the data, by the input. Thus, garbage in, garbage out.
yeah,
Discerning
yeah.
conditions.
I mean, that's a classic computing programming perspective there. And Norma, I wasn't assuming. That's why I checked to see it was you. I was making every effort to not actually assume. I'm not sure what you think I was assuming, but I really was making an effort not to. I try not to, Norma. I really try. All right, go ahead.
Discerning decision. When it comes to decision, most of the time the decisions are affecting the future. And when it comes to input and data relevant to the future, no matter how perfect the current data is, it's still problematic because the best we can do is extrapolate. Now, if one had access to all the possible information in the universe, it would raise the probability of accurate extrapolation. But since we don't, another method has to be found. For me, since I know for sure that my personal decision making is thus limited and curtailed, the shift to using external input as the basis for any decision making. The key to this is to understand that it matters not in the least what
Beena.
is the basis, root, or cause of the external input. All that matter all that matters is that it is not internal. Since I know for sure my internal system is limited because of the lack of access to data, I, of necessity, have to use another system. This is a radical approach, one that requires extreme courage and trust, and one that results in a very, very different way of living and way of being. It is a complete reversal of the usual way of living. I'm removing control from myself, as it were. This is a very foreign concept to most. So now we come to how exactly one actually does make decisions. What is the process, the procedure, the mechanisms? Force of circumstance.
Ah,
The simplest, okay, the simplest conceptualization is living via force of circumstance. What does this mean? To me, it means paying attention, continual attention to what is going on inside me and what is going on outside me, and most especially what is going on around me. Around me includes nowadays the online world we regularly interact with and things like TV, music, and movies. This attention is attunement. Okay, I'm going to just say for
ah,
myself, I'm going to say capital A attention for my emphasis.
yeah,
This capital A attention is capital A attunement, being
yeah.
connected, connected to the inner and outer worlds, paying particular attention to those areas that intersect, overlap, and connect, and or interact and impact upon us.
Wow, 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 wow. Panas. Okay, very cool.
Thank you. This attention is attunement, upon us. This constant monitoring allows us to become attuned, which is an immersion into pattern. Oh, wow. This constant monitoring allows us to become attuned, which is an immersion into pattern. The more we are attuned, the more we are able to align to pattern, to align to rhythm. Thus, we can align to change, to utilize change because we are able to see it coming, especially when it comes to complex patterns and rhythms. Those are not repetitive in a simplistic way, like that of a music beat typically is. The flow and pattern can lead to an entirely new pattern and rhythm, which we can catch if we are paying attention. Like, for instance, the pattern of anger buildup. One most, one most people know and understand. There is usually a fairly stable pattern of stress buildup, but of course, it is not infinite. At some point, there is the explosion. It is a pattern that also leads to an entirely new pattern post explosion. Oh, wow. Will you please just elucidate more on this paragraph, especially? The pattern. The constant monitoring allows us to become attuned to patterns, immersion into pattern.
Read the whole
Yes?
paragraph again.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
This attention is attunement, being connected to the inner and outer worlds, paying particular attention to those areas that intersect, overlap, connect, and or interact and impact upon us. Right? That's what we're paying attention to. We're paying
Yes.
attention to anything that overlaps, connects, interacts. Right. This constant monitoring allows us to become attuned, which is an immersion into pattern. Yeah. That's what attunement is. It's an immersion into pattern. I need to emphasize this. The
Like
more we are,
okay, sorry, please continue.
oh no, go ahead. That's what we're doing now. We're gonna capital R read
Okay,
this. So
so the
ask.
for okay, so I'm not understanding that how to pay attention that okay, like can you please give me some simple example of areas which intersect, overlap, and connect?
Okay. So we want to pay attention to those areas which intersect, overlap, and connect, and or interact and impact upon us. This is anything, the internet, the live, Facebook, comments, they interact and impact upon me. Yes. People, the
Hmm.
weather, anything. The cats that walk by here. Where I live, there are it's quite a cat population, and some of them are they semi-feral, semi-wild cats. Yeah, but like it'll be on the fence over here and do ninja walking on the fence or walk by outside. That impacts upon me and interacts with me. How does it impact? Well, because I'm paying attention, it impacts a little more because I'm extracting value from it. Yes. I'm noticing that there are cats. I'm noticing that they are different. I'm noticing that they aren't exactly tame, but they're not exactly wild either. And as such, I'm getting to observe something which you ordinarily don't see. Yeah? Well, you typically don't see wildcats that very often, but you seldom see them like this. So at least in my experience, I haven't seldom seen it. Maybe other places like this, it's common, right? It's fairly common over here. So anything can connect and overlap with us. Now, overlap would be where I'm talking about, us like we're doing the live and doing the podcasts, and somebody comes on in comments and say, "Oh, you know what? I'm also doing a podcast series, and I'm doing it on this and that or whatever." See, there's overlap there, right? And they may be doing it very differently, but there's overlap. So it's really just life that I'm talking about. Yes,
Like
but I'm talking about
what is overlap, sir?
overlap is anything where there is some degree of commonality. I said, for
Okay.
instance, if somebody, well, I was talking about the trains, and then Norma said, yes, she's traveled all over Europe as well. Well, I was talking about not trains, but it led to me talking about traveling. So there was an overlap with Norma. that Norma said, yes, she's also traveled all over Europe and Liberia, etc., which is fantastic, and it's just wonderful. I've known Norma for a long time, and we talk about all sorts of stuff. And I love this. I love when something new comes on. That I never knew this about Norma. It's a wonderful discovery. Yes, and I love it. It's really cool. And for me, this is one of the joys of a friendship. I see in the movies when people start a new friendship or a new relationship, they share everything about themselves. I did this. I went there, and they get all of the stuff out. And then what? Then you left now supposedly know all about you. Well, of course you don't, and knowing what people have done and what they like, and it doesn't tell you who they are. It's a mistaken understanding. But more than that, you've now sort of exhausted. I love to discover new things about somebody I've known for a long time. It's brilliant. It's like, wow, I know you so long and I never knew this. Yeah, it's a joy to discover this new things. You get it all out in the beginning. You kind of rob yourself of that joy of discovering things when they come about organically, like this now. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's really fantastic. Now, of course, Norma doesn't have to share where everywhere she went, no experiences. That can come again as appropriate, and it's pertinent and relevant. She can share about, all right, when she went to Liberia, what happened there, whatever. But it depends, right? When we shift our conversing and interconnecting to being appropriate, and then things have pertinence and relevance, and then we really get to hear the story in a way which is meaningful. If you just tell it to me because you're sharing just information about you, there's no pertinence, there's no relevance, and it goes in one ear and out the other, and it means nothing. I might remember it, but it doesn't mean anything. But when we're talking about something like I was talking about this, traveling as being life-changing, yeah, that story of the London Underground, it had pertinence. It had pertinence, yeah. So made difference. All right, so this is very important. Does that answer your question about overlap, Beena? Like, see,
Yes,
Norma was overlapping
yes,
there. Yeah,
yes,
and many
yes,
things
yes.
overlap, and
It
when
just
we have
started all
overlap,
with, yes, it
we
just
have
started with
connective.
the YouTube. Yes,
Exactly, exactly. From YouTube, we went to Tube. From Tube,
yes,
there's underground, we went to travel. And from travel,
yes.
we ended up, see how it all joins, see? But those little tiny overlaps, an overlap can be just a little bit, but you could have an overlap that's complete like this, right? The whole one
Mm.
thing completely overlaps the other, but it can just be a little. But when we start connecting it, that's why it's overlap and connect and or interact. I mean, there was actual interaction, with Norma could have made a comment, and there might not have been interaction if I hadn't actually interacted, responded to it, right? So it all exactly. It's not just conversation, Norma. It's also discussion, which is somewhat different to conversation. If you actually pay attention to typical conversations, they're not discussions. They're not actually interactive. One person shares and the other person shares and the other, but what they're doing is they're just sharing their own story, and they're actually sharing two different stories which sort of seem to relate, but they're listening to what's going on inside their heads. They aren't actually listening to the other person, so their conversations aren't actually reactive. I've got the story and I share a bit, and then, well, I give you space to share, and then you share your story. But basically, most people, it's like me, they're just talking about them and their things. They aren't actually really responding and listening to the others, roughly, more or less, but it's just whatever they could use as a kind of a reason or excuse and a connection to share their own stories. Yeah? So this is a very big difference with truly conversing and just regular typical conversations. They usually just one-sided on both sides, which is fascinating. It's very fascinating. Yes, I love it, Norma. I love it. I love your comments, Norma. I love your comments, and I do make an effort to be interactive with the comments. Yes, particularly Norma's. But yeah. So I will love all your comments on Facebook later when I'm watching them here on Restream, as you can see on the side here, Norma. I can't respond here to Facebook. I'll fix that. It's just some setting I have to do, and then I'll able to respond to you here as well. And hopefully it will show me your profile picture. I think that's probably another setting as well. And so I can be sure that it's you. I mean, that's why I had to, when on that other comment you said about traveling, I had to go to Facebook and check it up here, you see. And that's what I did, you see. So I said, yep, I checked. I don't like to assume no more. I always check. When I'm forced to assume, I check. Anyway, I wasn't even assuming, I was guessing. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Brilliant. Brilliant. So, yep. 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 I love it. All right. Please keep going. So now, does this make sense? Beena, you were asking about actual applications. I mean, it sounds fancier than it is, but it's just really living with paying a little bit more attention. Yes.
Yes.
All right. So read from here again, or from there, wherever you want to start, so that you can grasp what's going on for yourself again. Yes.
Okay. Yes.
I want to
This
see what
attention
this,
is,
sorry,
yes.
this whole section is about force of circumstance. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about living. Look, force of circumstance to me, enormous comments are force of circumstance. I can't ignore them. That would be rude to me. See? So whatever Norma says, I respond to. Yes, I also want to. Yeah, but whether I now wanted to or not, I kind of have to, because just how I am. I'd feel rude. But the fact that I want to and that it's a joy, that's moreness. Moreness. Force of circumstance, very powerful. Keep going, Beena. Keep going.
This attention is attunement, being connected to the inner and outer worlds, paying particular attention to those areas which intersect, overlap, and connect, and or interact and impact upon us. This constant monitoring allows us to become attuned, which is an immersion into pattern. The more we are attuned, the more we are able to align to pattern, to align to rhythm. Thus, we can align to change, to utilize change because we are able to see it coming, especially when it comes to complex patterns and rhythms. Those are not repetitive in a simplistic way like that of a music beat typically is. The flow and pattern can lead to an entirely new pattern and rhythm, which we can catch if we are paying attention. Like, for instance, the pattern of anger buildup. When most people know and understand, there's usually a fairly stable pattern of stress buildup, but of course, it's not infinite. At some point, there is the explosion. It's a pattern that also leads to an entirely new pattern post explosion.
All right. So this we understand, right? I mean, it's a very,
Yes,
very good practical example. You're talking and you see some, and builds a and eventually it comes out, right? That's a pattern that we recognize, and it's a pattern that leads to a new pattern, the pattern of when the anger gets released, as opposed to the anger building and being held in and being inhibited. And of course, sometimes people don't explode; they really do manage that. Again, different patterns, but we are very skilled at recognizing pattern. It's what kept us alive throughout the aeons. Yes. Attunement. Now we come to a moreness with attunement, though. Yeah, yeah.
we are actually intimately familiar with pattern and rhythm, even if we are not consciously aware of it. We are extremely sophisticated in this. It is a function of our survival. All hunting is predicated on this as a physical survival security. In terms of decision making, I am leveraging this awesome ability we all have. The key is, of course, attunement. We, the more we are attuned, the more we are tapped into the rhythm of the jungle. Today's jungle is much more diverse, but the mechanisms are the same. To get back to living via force of circumstance, being aware and being attuned to both inner and outer allows us to be connected to what is impacting on us. But even a comprehensive awareness and attunement can cause us to miss essential elements. To simplify this complexity, it is most useful to look at what the entirety of our connection is forcing on us.
And this forcing. Remember when we were in the desert. Remember that story I told, right?
Yes,
When I was living in the desert at that time, and I was with somebody. It was a very profound experience for me. It was very, very deep. And And because I make this habit of thinking about things and paying attention to implications, I looked at it and said, this is really fascinating to me, that being here, we are being forced to learn. Wow. And the person I was with said, what do you mean we're being forced to learn? Nobody's here, nobody's doing it. So she didn't maybe say it in those words, but she didn't quite understand what I mean. And she asked, what do you mean forced to learn? I said, for instance, the silence. We are being forced to learn to be able to deal with the silence. She says, but what do you mean how? I said, well, if we don't deal with it and we don't get okay with it, what's going to happen? Oh, well, you're going to go crazy, or you're going to be very stressed. You're going to be very unhappy. And then she got it, right? Okay. I get you now. Right? So you see what I mean? You're being forced because the alternative is either to suffer, stress, be really bothered by the silence, or to just go crazy because of it. Yes. What about security? Yeah. I said we're being forced to deal with security and insecurity. They're out in the middle of nowhere. You think you'd be the safest. Actually, the reverse, because there's no one to help you and bail you out. Should somebody come and want to cause trouble, we're completely at their mercy. We didn't have any weapons or anything. We were 100% vulnerable. But of course, you have to make peace with this, yes? And that making peace with it is you being forced by the circumstance. If you don't, you're going to suffer, be stressed, bothered. And this is life, really. You either learn to deal with things, use them, and of course, in moreness, we learn to get value, maximum value out of them, not just sort of make peace with them. We get maximum value, or you suffer. That's really the bottom line. It's your choice, right? You can kind of be neutral, suffer, or get joy and moreness. It's up to you. You have these choices. We don't have to just take things as they are. Yeah. But life is almost always forcing us in some way. This is the magic of life. That's why when you live in attunement, you say, well, force as if I'm being stupid. In that case, in the desert, we weren't forced to because, for me, I did that willingly and deliberately. I saw it as not just only as challenge, but as a joy. Wow, I'm being forced to deal with silence and security. I was thrilled at this because I love self-improvement and learning and growing. And yeah, I'm being forced to do it in this profound way. It was fantastically thrilling and enlivening and more. Yeah? And when you understand that attunement is not forcing you, but bringing you gifts, that's what attunement is. It's when it shifts from being forced to being gifts. Yeah. When you're in attunement, it's all gifts. When you're out of attunement, you're being forced and pressured. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Yes.
Please continue, wonderful Beena. Please continue. Love you, Norma. Cross my.
Attunement. We are actually intimately familiar with pattern and rhythm. Okay, this one we have read out. You all have ability. The key is, of course, attunement. The more we are attuned, the more we are tapped into the rhythm of the jungle. This one is also, we have read already.
Just read it again. Doesn't matter. Let's read it again.
Okay, the key is, of course, attunement. The more we are attuned, the more we are tapped into the rhythm of the jungle. Today's jungle is much more diverse, but the mechanisms are the same. To get back to living by a force of circumstance, being aware and being attuned to both inner and outer allows us to be connected to what's impacting on us. But even a comprehensive awareness and attunement can cause us to miss essential elements. Wow. To simplify this complexity, it is most useful to look at what the entirety of our connection is forcing on us.
Right. Right. See, like in that case with the desert, zoom out, look at the bigger picture, the entirety of our connection. Yes. Yeah. Making
Yes.
peace with the unknown. Oh, I love this. Oh, what a wonderful picture. It's the one I chose for, I try and choose a background picture out of the days. Inner mind and mindfulness, and this choice between this and a path and attunement and looking at something different. What a wonderful, wonderful painting to illustrate that. Good job, Syl. Good job, Syl. Good job, Syl.
Yes.
I'm really enjoying the art. It makes a huge difference to me, to the book and the story. And again, to take time to look at this art as it relates to this, making peace with the unknown. It's like I usually try and attunement, same thing, right? It applies both ways. As I try and have the pictures match the segments that are above and below it. Yeah, no problem, Norma. No problem. No problem. See you later, Norma. See you later. Yes. I'm hoping wonderful things are coming. Maybe wonderful people are visiting you. Maybe it's that guy from Publishers Clearinghouse bringing you a big fat check. Who knows?
Making peace with the unknown. Most of the time, most decisions are actually entirely superfluous. They don't need to be made at all. And if made, are usually, what is the word here? It is
Don't say that. Just read it.
countermanded. Okay. Are
Countermanded.
usually,
Yes.
yes, countermanded in some way by us later on. Oh, we mostly make decisions not because they are actually needed, but because they appease our stress in some way. Wow. Decision made lull us. What is lull? I don't know, but okay. Uh, us into believing that we have reduced uncertainty. Oh, decisions us into believing that we have reduced uncertainty. Yes, that is the root of the
Oh.
issue. Okay. That is the root of the issue. Hmm. I okay.
Wow. 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 Something happened. Sorry. What happened here? What happened here? I was trying to take out of that. Yeah. I did. I did. I don't know where you went to, Beena. Right. Uh,
No, it is unbiased testing now.
oh. Come on. Contextual appropriateness. Yeah. Here we are. All right. Sorry. Yeah. Decisions made lull us into believing this, that I want to remove. Uh, into believing we have reduced uncertainty. Very
Yes,
powerful sentence there, yes? I
yes,
think I ought to put
yes,
that in my
yes,
quote file, yes?
yes,
That's the root of the issue, living with uncertainty, making peace with the unknown. Yeah, it's a very big point, this, that, we have to be careful with decisions, because if we aren't paying attention, they lull us into believing. Yes, they fool us, they fake us
yes, yes.
into believing, in other words. Oh, what is going on? Uh, Trying to get to my Biella series quotes. It's not happening. I don't know. Something has happened to that program. It's not opening the files properly. All right, keep going, please, Beena.
Okay. If we can make peace with the unknown, then we can eliminate the vast majority of decisions. Uh, these necessities or strongly encourages these
This
necessities.
necessitates or strongly
Oops,
encourages.
oops, oops, oops. Yeah, that's why I'm like, it doesn't make any sense what I'm reading. So I'm like, this necessitates or strongly encourages making trust a major
Encourages.
component.
You got to read the S's, Beena.
Okay, encourages making trust a major component of our day-to-day operating psychology and philosophy. To maintain the perspective of trust allows us to live with uncertainty and the unknown. This is crucial.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
bringing
If we
trust
can
into
make,
the
hang on, I want to read this. I want to read this paragraph again. If we can make peace with the unknown, we can eliminate the vast majority of decisions. Wow, a really powerful point. This necessitates or strongly encourages making trust a major component of our day-to-day operating psychology and philosophy, capital T trust. To maintain the perspective of trust, capital T trust, allows us to live with uncertainty and the unknown. This is crucial. To maintain the perspective of capital T trust allows us to live with uncertainty and the unknown. This is crucial. Please continue, Beena.
Bringing trust into the equation allows us to focus only on those issues that are being forced onto us. And if we pay attention, again, when circumstances force some sort of change, the actual decision involved are usually very simple. Either go with the change or not. Wow. This is where the attunement to inner comes into play. If the outer force of circumstances is in alignment with our inner world, then the
No,
choice
no
is
S
simple.
here. No S after circumstance.
Okay, circumstance is in alignment with our inner world, then the choice is simple.
Yeah.
Force of
If the
circumstance
outer
is in
force of
alignment.
circumstance.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
repeating.
Yeah.
This
I
is
just want
where
to
the
get the whole
attunement.
sentence.
This is where the attunement to inner comes into play. If the outer force of circumstance is in alignment with our inner world, then the choice is simple. Wow.
Yeah. If the outer force of circumstance, because it's a thing, is in alignment with our inner world, then the choice is simple. Yeah. Or the choices are simple. Yeah. Right? It's better as a plural there. Right, Beena?
Yes.
Okay. Impeccable character. Brilliant. We're moving along here. This is a long article. There's a lot of stuff here. Please keep going, Angel.
Impeccable character. Now we come to the complex point, the validity of our inner motivations. This is essential. This is why one of the cornerstones of my philosophy is character, a golden triangle: abstraction, character, and strategy. One of a few of my different golden triangles or cornerstones perspectives.
Nope. Cornerstone perspectives.
Cornerstone perspectives. The key when it comes to motivation is our personal impact. The key when it comes to motivation is our personal impeccability. Okay. Our personal inner integrity, our scrupulousness. We have to be impeccable in our ruthless honesty when examining our motives. And in examining those motives, appropriateness is the order of the day. This is like okay,
There needs to be a comma there. And in examining those motives, appropriateness is the order of the day. Sorry, the
yes,
comma was missing there.
yes. And of course we are talking about the self-honesty here, ruthless self-honesty.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. Uh, yes, you happy with that?
Yes. Appropriateness is linked intimately to attunement. In order to determine appropriateness, we have to know what our goal is, our objective, our motivation. Then we have to know context, circumstance, environment, and the means.
Yeah.
Norma is asking, is that the way you try and live?
It's not try. Not try. There is no try. There's only do. It's how I do live, Norma. Yes, absolutely. And when you say is that, can you be more precise? Which part do you mean specifically, Norma? Because each sentence is a lot of things. So even if I go back just to the previous paragraph, I'm not sure what you mean. That you mean in personal impeccability, with integrity, scrupulousness, ruthless, radical self-honesty. I'm not sure which that you mean, but all of it. This is all based on not how I try to live, Norma, but how I do live. Now, being impeccability, it's a scale. You can always be more. Being honest, well, okay, I don't know. With self-honesty, I don't know if it's a scale. Maybe there's stuff I'm not aware of, but what I'm aware of, I'm ruthlessly, scrupulously, radically self-honest. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. All those things, all those things. Norma, it's a lot when you want to say this is something new. Yes. Because if I take the way my peers grew up, they learned none of this stuff. Yes. None of this, the typical average person, when participants come to Way-of-Impeccability, like Beena, she'll tell you, yes, even though it is a part of her life. I mean, Beena lives in a wonderful, greater environment, her family's greater environment, of the culture, that her family culture is one which has these things in it to some degree, or to a considerable degree, but they aren't specifically necessarily named and mentioned, right? So
Yes.
Bina would do a lot of this. Just well, that's just what I've been doing. But now she can know it, that she's doing it consciously and deliberately. But what I'm trying to say is, if we look around our typical lives, this type of way of being is not there deliberately. It may be inadvertently, but not deliberately. And however, and you may say, yes, but still, that's kind of, you're saying a lot that you're doing all of this in your life. I've been doing it all my life since age 10. If you ask the average professional sports player, right, and you ask them about all the things that they do, or somebody, any professional, like I just came up in the interview with Jill, right, all the things she does in addition to just interviewing me. She mentioned a whole long list of them, right? I got to pay attention to this and that. There was a whole lot of stuff that she had to do. The timing, the ads, the commercial, all sorts of stuff she has to pay attention to. So when we do something and we do it professionally, we're doing it thoroughly, not just professionally in the sense of getting money for it, but professionally as in being a synonym for impeccability, which it really is, right? When we make this effort to really do things thoroughly and appropriately and fully and to our best, we do a ton of stuff. Now, most people aren't able to name it. This is one of my skills, is that I made the effort to name, and so that we can learn to do it deliberately, because through deliberate living, it all changes everything. So yes, Beena, Norma, this is who I am. This is how I am. This is how I live. Not try, but do. Right, Beena?
Yes.
You know me better than anybody. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
Honesty to others too. Yes, Norma. I am rigorously and scrupulously honest. I say I love you, I mean it. Most people don't. They say it, well, just to appease people. No, I mean it. Yes, I absolutely mean it. Yeah. So whatever I do, all the things I do, I'm honest to a fault, if you want to call it that way. But I don't like that expression, because I don't see that as being a fault. Most people just simply don't want to believe the honesty because of the implications. Yeah. And also, they don't want to believe that you're being honest because, like, if you're being nice to somebody, they don't want to believe you're doing it for genuine reasons because of the implications. People avoid honesty, at least in others, or taking it and assuming it to be true because of implications. For one thing, if you can be nice and be more and all of this, if I'm really being honest, what does that say about me, that I'm not this way? Oh, I've been lazy, I haven't paid attention. No, it doesn't mean that. It just means you weren't interested. Okay, there's no better or worse here. I was very interested in this, so I learned to do it. That's all. Okay, interest. But also, there are implications. Like if somebody's being very nice and kind and helpful to you, and if you take them to be honest, that means that yes, they're doing it, but this is something very real and valuable. And we are taught to cling to value and prize value and hoard value and to fear loss of value. That's the greed mindset, the dragon hoarding its treasure, or, Scrooge hoarding its money. It's a BMN superiority culture thing. If that moreness that's in your life, if it goes and something else will come. Don't worry about it. Trust life. Trust life. Life brings you what's appropriate. Always, life brings you what's appropriate. But we can't live by fear, and therefore, we don't want to trust things honestly. So because then they are so incredible and good, then we fear losing them, and then we don't want to lose stuff, and it's a whole mess. It's just a waste. No, just trust and enjoy, 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 enjoy. And, if things change, they change. There'll be more, and that's the point too. You may get more than you have now. I have had moreness on top of moreness on top of moreness, and so has Beena, right? Yes, Beena?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
No, Beena, I mean, Norma, that's not actually true. I mean, yes, you say that you're clever with use of words, but that by implication says basically that I'm bullshitting. That's what that usually means. Yeah. I'm not, Beena. I'm Norma. I'm telling you straight. I'm telling you honestly. I'm not playing with words. I'm not manipulating words to make my point, which is usually what clever with words means. That you just you fudging things, you BSing in some way. No, I'm telling you
I
like
want
it
to add something here, sir.
like it is. Yeah,
I
what's
want
that?
to add something here. Okay.
Please, please.
This being clever with words. Okay. First, the word clever again. Mostly it has
Oh,
been taken on saying in not so a positive way. Okay. So because people say that, okay. So again, as Syl was saying that, okay, manipulators, and they do play with words. Uh, the problem is that when people say, okay, sorry, Syl, I'm going to use your example because this is what I can actually do. Yeah, I don't find any other example here. The problem with when we don't pay attention to other person, like in this case, Syl, what he's saying, how he's saying, and what he's saying, when we don't pay full attention, complete attention to, and kind of take it for granted, and sometimes assume that okay, we understand. Then after some times when that thing come back, and then you say, oh, that same point, and then he repeat exactly what he says, then you realize, oh, also like, okay, I didn't understand that, I didn't listen. Actually, it was not understanding, it was not listening appropriately at that time. It
oh,
happens most of the time, and then people say, oh, you are very clever with words, because we assume, we just take words like, okay, if he's saying good, we assume it's also mean nice, which is
oh.
not. So he was, okay,
No.
I'm just saying that because this is my experience. I'm not you saying,
Yes.
trying to defend anyone here, especially Syl, because of course he doesn't need that. But what I'm saying that it is in my personal experience. I have experienced this many times, that when you are saying that, I never met anyone who is so scrupulous about his usage of words. He is.
No. No.
When
No.
he say
No.
that, he is deliberately choosing exactly appropriate words, what he really wants to say and communicate. But
Yes.
because we assume, I just gave you one example, when he say, oh, it's good, we assume that he is also saying it's nice and it's pretty,
There you
which is
go.
a different thing, which is
Right.
a
In other words,
completely
Beena,
yes,
expression and reception are not connected necessarily.
yes,
What
yes,
I say and what is heard are two different things sometimes.
yes.
Yeah.
And then we build up a
Particularly.
story on base of what I was receiving. I build up that
Exactly.
story. And when, of
Exactly.
course, when it comes back to the
Exactly.
same point again in the future, and then we discuss that thing again, and then I said, no, but you said that. And he says that what I said. This is what I
Yeah.
said.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
then my mind again, of course, this is my ego, of course, or anyone it could be. Then we say that, oh no. So he definitely, I was not assuming anything. He must be very clever. Again, now quote unquote the clever word. Okay. In
Exactly.
this case,
No.
it was, sorry,
No.
Syl, it was very personal example, but I don't have anyone else example.
No. No. Go ahead.
I have
No.
to,
No.
I
No. I'm
have to
saying
say that.
I'm just agreeing with you. I'm
Yes,
not saying
okay.
no to.
And again, Norma, it is not to defend anyone here, but it is to share the understanding, because I have practiced capital H hearing, of course, and I'm continuously doing that. I'm trying to, and I have
Yes.
been doing that.
Yes.
Sometimes, not in the far past, but in the
Yes.
very near past, we have
Yes.
used to have consecutive sessions like for 8 hours, like 4 sessions, 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours, and I was listening, and I was just speaking for 2 minutes at the end of the session. This is how I
Yeah.
got the
Yeah.
opportunity to practice capital H hearing. I
Yeah.
was just
Yeah.
listening and listening and listening. And that part, that real practical exercise really helped me to understand things more than when I'm talking. Now,
Yes. Yes. Also,
So what I'm
it brings
sharing
up.
is, so just a minute, sir. What I'm
Right, good.
sharing here is just not that, okay, oh, because he's my best friend, so because we spend a lot of time together, because we do a lot. No, I think I am the very strict critique of Syl also. I always say that. Oh, Syl,
Yeah.
you did.
Yeah. Yeah. Wonderfully so.
but but this is a matter of understanding. This is a matter of impeccability and self
Yeah.
honesty.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't be anyone or any other
Yeah.
person than
Yeah.
be try to be self honest. So that's
Yeah.
why I was sharing, Norma.
Yeah. I want to add a big point here. Add to
Yes, please.
basically, I'm going to do a repeat back. Is in essence of what Beena said, with maybe an extra added on. The problem with for me, particularly for me, and now Biella by extension also, is that Biella is sharing things which are outside of our usual understanding. Yeah. And this is how we go about life. We understand things, and what we hear, we tend to bring in and conform to match our understanding. When it's new and it's different, we change it to match what we believe it should be, what it's supposed to be, what it well, it must be this because that's what typically things are. We can't even imagine that there could be stuff outside of our conception. Many of these concepts that I'm bringing in are outside the usual conception. And therefore, we have to basically really make sure that when we think we understand, we actually do. Now, in this context here, it's difficult to do it because you're reading. But in the context of way of impeccability, or in the context of you can do it in the chat here, like I said to Michaela the other day, treat this as if it were a way of impeccability session. In other words, do a repeat back of what the chapter is saying, the paragraph, right? The sentence even. What this means is that we are checking to make sure that we actually understand, not think we understand. How much have we done this in life? Never. Yes, we aren't actually given this part of our upbringing. Is that, do you understand? You get asked by the teacher or your parent, and you go, yes, yes. You know, you nod very earnestly. Yes. How often is that actually true? I've seen this many, many times. I've witnessed it. It's too fantastic. The mother said something, or the teacher to the child, and the child, do you understand? They always nod very vigorously, right? And they go, and then they run away and they go and tell their friends, oh, you know, mom said or teacher said. And they say something completely and utterly different. It's really fascinating. I say, how on earth did you hear that from what this was said? It blew my mind, and it still does. Yes. I mean, so often we have this, that what is said and what is heard is two different things. Michaela, right? In that, when she did a repeat back, she said, want and need. I said, where do you get need from? It wasn't even mentioned. The word need wasn't mentioned in that paragraph. Where do you get want and need from? Assumption by her, because she typically want and need are associated. So she assumed, well, it's like the mind is incredible in this ability to put things together according to how you think it should be. Yeah. So therefore is why repeat backs are essential and integral and super important in doing way of impeccability, and not just in way of impeccability, but in life in general. If you want to be sure you actually understand, you have to check it. And the way to check it is with a repeat back. Yes. And that's what we're doing all the time here. Look at Beena. She says, you know, can you share more on this? She's asking me now. Sometimes she says what she thinks, and then I respond. We don't do it in a formal way because it's built into our conversational style. Plus, then there are takeaways as well. But this is absolutely important, because otherwise, how do we know we understand? We've gone a whole lifetime of understanding, and you know, I know for a fact that most of the time when we think we understand, we've got it completely wrong. Yes. And this is very key. It's very, very key. And that's why it's not me being clever with words, Norma. I'm very precise and very exact as much as I possibly can, and especially also in honesty. But you know, if you don't actually believe that people can be capital H honest, truly, not you, but anybody, if we don't believe somebody can be honest, truly, truly honest, then we aren't going to see that honesty. We are going to conform it to our expectation, which is that nobody ever is truly honest.
Oh,
Very
yes.
sad way to view the world, but this is the superiority paradigm perception. Biella is scrupulously honest. There's no doubt about it. Yes, she's sharing completely honestly. There's no BS here, no BS. So yeah,
Yes.
being clever with words isn't just to say something in order to make your point out of it. No, I'm saying it exactly as it is. Yeah. Again, look at the motivations. In the superiority paradigm, people are clever with words because they want to make a point. They want to win an argument. I have no interest in that whatsoever. To win an argument means to prove somebody wrong. What on earth do I want to do that for? Where's the value in that for me? None. Nothing. I want to come to understanding, not interested in winning any arguments. I lose. I lose by winning an argument. Okay, so I'll prove that you're wrong. Well, what have I benefited? You haven't said something that's added to my life. Something that's wrong doesn't add to my life. No, doesn't help me. Even if I didn't know it before, unless you show what's right, knowing what's wrong, it's very minimal value. Yeah. But still, generally, if I'm right and you're wrong, how's my life been enhanced or improved? I never gained anything whatsoever. I simply know what I knew before. And it means nothing. But when we come to understanding, we both
Uh,
benefit. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you, but
Oh, no, go ahead.
is it because that we are so conditioned from the very early of our existence, like okay, from the very early childhood, that we learn to actually decept our own mind by understanding that okay, believing in the fairy tales, believing in the Santa Claus, or any kind of stories and movies and cartoons especially, where we see and laugh that okay, yes, that character is killing the other one and cutting into pieces, but it is not happening, so we laugh because we know that it is going to happen. So this is how we learn to do that. And
Yeah.
same happened with that. As a consequence, as a subtle consequence of it, that we assume that the things written in the book or being said are just for the sake of saying. They are all bookish. They cannot be
Ah,
actually practically implemented. And then that's why we don't trust that. And especially in this case, yes, we all are aware of these ideas and perspectives in some or the other way, or from way of impeccability, but we never actually experience that in real time, that someone can actually live according to
yeah.
that. And that's
Correct.
why
Correct.
our mind,
It's
it's
revolutionary.
beyond our understanding, it's beyond our
Correct.
comprehension that
Correct.
it can
Correct.
be, it is not just
Because we've been
bookish thing.
taught it's not possible.
Yes.
Why? Why have we been taught this? But first, let me respond to wonderful, marvelous Norma. Norma, I use your comments not
Oh yes,
necessarily
oh yes.
as always, meaning they come directly from you. I use them as a leverage to talk about a bigger, broader point in general. I know we
Yes.
don't always say what we mean, and I know this, and I know your heart always means good. Always, Norma. I know this. This I know. You might not agree with me, but I know this. Right? So Norma says, I meant the use of all words. I don't have a huge dictionary of words as I'm used
Oh,
to
you have
writing,
such
not
a
speaking.
marvelous dictionary of words,
So you
Norma.
don't converse well. You're fantastic. You're like an oracle that brings about moreness, Norma. You are fantastic.
I read your
And
poem with the god, like, and it was so beautiful, Norma. You are so
yeah, the
good with
which poem?
words.
The which poem, Norma?
With the god,
The what?
when when she was actually talking to the god or Jesus.
Oh, you said the. She was talking to God. It's the that confused me. I heard it as
Okay,
one word, and I couldn't figure out
okay,
what it was. Yeah,
okay,
just all
okay.
right. Yeah, she was talking about God and Jesus and her connection.
Yes,
She was asking God the
yes,
question. Yes,
yes.
yes, yeah. So this was very powerful. Yes, it's an incredibly beautiful poem.
Yes,
Really,
this
yeah.
is how we
Why?
use, this is attunement. This is again,
Why?
this is attunement.
Exactly,
Your comment
exactly.
said, give us an opportunity.
Exactly. Why was that poem of Norma's so beautiful? And I'm going to segue here. I'm going to segue here to actually read your poem, Norma. Is it all right? Can I read your poem, Norma? Norma, let me know.
Uh,
Let me know. I want to know if it's okay if I read your wonderful poem, Norma. Yeah. Can you see the comments there, Avina? Will you let me know?
okay.
Let me look in
It takes a bit of time, so no, wait.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
she says
yeah,
yes.
yeah. Okay. All right. Good, good, good. Okay. Let's read Norma's fabulous, beautiful
Oh,
poem.
she
Now,
says,
why?
okay, thank you. Oh, thank you. Didn't know you read my things. Yes.
Oh, yes, we read them. We read them. And sometimes I read them aloud. We're on Zoom and I say,
Yes,
Beena, listen to
yes,
this. Beena, listen to this.
yes,
And
yes.
where's your profile? Where are your posts here now?
I'm an
Yeah.
online introvert, Norma. That's why I do read things, and it is not
Yeah.
like
Where
I
are
don't
your
want to
posts?
perform,
Ah,
but
yeah.
I
All right.
am.
There's another reason for this poem being pertinent now and why I'm making a point to read it. Because it's not that Norma is clever with words, right, Norma?
Hmm.
You, by your own admission, you might not say you are clever with words, which we tend to think of poetry. Oh, if you're good at write nice poetry, you're clever with words. No, 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 no. Sometimes, yes, there are poems which rely on cleverness with words, and they are fun and they're nice. But the real poems to me are ones which are deep, deep honesty. And here we hear Norma's incredible, beautiful, beautiful honesty. We see her soul exposed. We see Norma's spirit, the earnestness, the beautifulness, and all of this, the doubt, the uncertainty, all of it, the vulnerability, the beautifulness of Norma's soul is exposed in this poem. It is shared with us, and it is an incredible gift. I'm going to read. Norma says, Dear God, are you the universe? Or is the universe you? To whom should we pray when we need to speak true? I overload on Jesus. I know him the best. But even he would enjoy a well-deserved rest. You are creation and we are all. Such big concepts for me so small. Some days seem dear and safe I feel. But then comes age and tiredness and followed by the fall from all my beliefs. So whom should I ask to pick me up and again tell the truth or supply relief? Jesus gives loving, complete with respite, but even he deserves rest from what just seems my so stupid light. You bring tears to my eye with the beauty of this poem of yours, Norma. Make me emotional. It's an incredibly, fantastically wonderful sharing. We hear someone's pure heart, pure heart. Very beautiful, Norma. Very beautiful.
Yes.
Very beautiful. I'm sorry, I don't mean to get emotional, but that's what it is. That's what it is. What it is. So I said this. I said, oh Norma, love is so dearly. Please pray to yourself. Answer yourself, Norma. You have what is needed in you. Trust your wonderful self, please, dear Norma. Yes, so, so beautiful and wonderful sharing, Norma. So beautiful. I love this poem. It's really, really awesome, awesome, beautiful. Because it's honest. It is so purely, purely, purely honest. It's incredible. This radical, radical, ruthless self-honesty. Yes. Share it. Share it. We don't often hear this kind of sharing from people. And then you put it in poem form too, just as an extra bonus. It is, yeah. I more than like Norma. I'm more than like, I love this poem. It's just too beautiful. It stays with me, this poem. It stays with me. It is a real poem. That's what I'm going to publish a book called The Real Poems. Yes. Mostly of what I've written. There's a whole bunch from Beena as well. And I asked you, there's some of your poems I'd love to include. This would be one that I'd love to put in that book. It belongs in there. It's a real poem. Of course, if you're going to write, your soul needs to be in your writings. This is what makes good writing. That's why what I'm sharing here, yes, it's via Biella, but it's still me. Biella is a part of me. It's part of you. It's part of everyone. Right? Biella is a voice, yeah, in that capital V way of understanding what the voice is. Yeah, Biella is one of my voices. I have multiple voices. Yeah? Very, very powerful, beautiful stuff. Very powerful, beautiful stuff. Yes. So again, I love it. I love it. I love it, Norma. I need to add that in comments there. Yeah, I can't now. I'm away from the page. It'll take me a little while to get back, but I'll put it in there later. All right, let's get back to our article. Yes, appropriateness is linked intimately to attunement. Look how incredible this. We are attuned. See, I was attuned to what you were saying. and attuned to what I'm doing, what I'm reading. I'm attuned to the greater context. Through this bigger attunement, I was able to connect the appropriateness of it. See? And your poem, we talked about honesty, and your poem comes in, and it's about honesty. Yeah? Yeah? That's it. Appropriateness is linked intimately to attunement. In order to determine appropriateness, we have to know what our goal is, our objective, our motivation. Then we have to know context, circumstance, environment, and the means for application. All right. Please continue. Contextual appropriateness. Continue, Beena, please.
Yes.
I didn't say
Contextual.
ooh. I didn't say ooh.
My soul is in my writing. Yes. Yes, Norma. Soul poetry. Yes.
And a beautiful soul it is.
Yes. Contextual
Beautiful.
appropriateness. Now, to be most optimally appropriate, we would have to be appropriate in the overall long term life context. In the universal context, this leads us to take a position on what life is all about, the meaning and purpose of it all. To me, it is the enhancement of awareness or the expansion of it, or self realization, freedom, self actualization, and so on. All of these are essentially the same or at root. The particular term or slightly different path to the same overall goal doesn't matter. What matters is that these goals, whichever one we identify with, be taken into cognizance when it comes to determining appropriateness, which is connecting us back to our decision making via our motivations and purpose. When are determining whether or not to go along with force of circumstance and we examine our internal world, we need to look at our motivations. Are our motivations in accord with the highest level motivation we have? Okay, highest level motivations we have. I want to read this again. When are determining whether or not to go along with force of circumstance and we examine our internal world, we need to look at our motivations. Are our motivations in accord with the highest level motivations we have? Those goals of the overall point and purpose of life. If they are, then all is good and well. Decision making is then simple and easy. We go along with what aligns with our life goals. Because life goals are broad, raising awareness, learning, understanding, etc. It doesn't usually matter the specific means by which this is accomplished. Thus, a very wide range of options are available to us. This leads to decisions usually falling into the realm of expediency, efficiency, effectiveness.
Expediency.
Yes, this is what I read. No,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
sounds
yeah.
so.
I'm just saying it again.
Okay, expediency, efficiency, effectiveness, and so on. Usually simply aligning with the change that is being forced on us in the simplest and most energy efficient way to respond. That's my fondness for saying life is easy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Usually, simply aligning with the change being forced on us is the simplest and most efficient way to respond. Usually, simply aligning with the change being forced on us is the simplest and most energy efficient way to respond. Thus, my fondness for saying life is easy. Yeah, and that's forced in inverted commas. Yeah, it's not really forced, but it kind of is also. Thank you, Beena and Syl, says Norma. I am overwhelmed. Not used to such compliments. Bless you both. They aren't compliments, really. I mean, in the normal way, Norma, because we aren't saying this to make you feel good. We are sharing honestly how we respond to your poem. This is the beauty of honesty and self-honesty. It always leads to sharing. You shared your poem. I'm sharing how your poem affected me. I'm not doing so to compliment you, which is that has an agenda. Compliments is to make you feel happy and say something nice about you. Uh, no, I'm saying it because it's real and true and genuine. It is complimentary, but that's simply a consequence of the realness of the honesty. Yes, this is why this Nobelia-Living that we're talking about, this Moreness paradigm, why it's so powerful. In the superiority paradigm, we are taught to give compliments. The superiority paradigm culture is perpetrated, and I use the word perpetrated very, very deliberately. It is perpetrated on us by the radically insecure, the radically shallow, the radically hollow, the radically nonsensical, foolish, scrappy. That's who our culture comes from, because they are trying to justify themselves, and that's they push all these things to justify themselves, right? They want compliments because they're hollow and insecure. So compliments becomes a positive thing. On Nobelia, they don't even use the word compliments. It's just not an issue. I mean, I'm not criticizing you, Norma. Again, you see, you bring up these magical points and you just stimulate my brain, right? I mean, I truly understand how you mean and appreciate it, but I want to go further. Yes. Because, I mean, you are saying it genuinely and you really mean what you're saying and it's true and genuine. But I'm trying to say, let's go a little further, that we don't get stuck in things. Yes. So, what Beena and I were doing, we were sharing. That's why the whole culture on Nobelia and the whole mourners culture, it's about sharing. I'm sharing how I loved and appreciated and enjoyed and really was profoundly affected by your poem, and how I see your soul, your spirit, your moreness, your goodness. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Yes. And yes, that is complimentary, but it's not my agenda. Yes. And that's the thing with the superiority paradigm. Unfortunately, it taints such a sharing as Beena and mine's with that implication that, well, you have an agenda. You're saying this to say something nice about me, and typically when you say nice things, just to curry favor, get in somebody's good graces, suck up, whatever. Yeah, superiority paradigm is such a cancerous paradigm, such a cancerous culture. It's horrible. It's really, really hard. It taints everything. Taints everything. It takes the most beautiful things and makes them into nothing. So we need to get out of this if we want to live with moreness in our lives. All right, where were we, Beena? Where were we? Where were we?
Okay. Dealing with the awful truth.
Oh, that's where we are. All right, yes, yes, yes. Wonderful. Please keep going. We love you, Beena, and love you, Norma. Absolutely love you. Oh, such a joy.
Where lie the problems? Almost always with ego, with nonsense. If we do things for ego reasons, for self-importance, vanity, pride, relatives, superiority, and so on, this is almost always where problems come in, as these motivations are in discord to those universal goals, to our life goals, to the goals that truly matter to us. Ego-based goals and motivations are doomed because they are dependent on others. Thus, we can never truly be free as long as ego goals are a part of our overall goal process. As long as the self-importance slash ego goals are important to us, we are doomed to not being able to be free. We will always be slaves to others, to society, culture, advertising, etc. Slaves to ego, approval, and attention. This is why character, specifically integrity, impeccability, and the ability to deal with the awful truth are so key. We need then to break away from the primacy of the ego dominated culture. And when it
Primacy,
comes
yes.
to primacy, okay, we need then to break away from the primacy of the ego dominated culture. And when it comes to linking our inner world to the outer in order to facilitate our decision making, it is imperative that our inner world is not obfuscated and corrupted by the pettiness of ego. Oh, I like this word pettiness instead of nonsense. Okay.
Yeah, but
Yes.
see, pettiness and crappiness are two different things, Beena. And
Yeah,
nonsense
I know.
also.
I know.
I know you
Yes,
don't
I
like
know.
this word. And in
Yes.
in your upbringing, it's much, and like when I was at school, You can say crap, you get a hiding, but it's totally changed, and it never was an issue in America, which is really fascinating to me. But crappiness is different to nonsense. Crappiness is that you are being less than you can be deliberately.
Yes, I understand that, sir.
So nonsense, you see, it's not quite the same thing.
I
Nonsense
know.
is the result of you being less than you can be. But there
Yes.
isn't. That's why this word has come about, because it's filling a
Yes.
gap where there
I'm
wasn't a
not
word for.
objecting, Phil, of course. It is
I know
just,
you aren't. I know you aren't. I'm just because, well, I was thinking about it. Is there perhaps a word I can use instead of it?
oh, thank you so much for
Because
that.
I am making an effort to be international, and if there was another word that I could use, you know, indulgence, yes. But to indulge myself means I like maybe overeat or stuff like that. It's not necessarily the same as me being deliberately less than.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
knowingly being less than, and
See,
and and doing
Norma,
stuff.
we
Yeah.
do struggle with words sometimes. Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Not
And
all
I
wonderful.
look to expand the language.
Yes, I
Language is
understand.
the
I'm
magic
just
of things.
teasing. I'm
No,
just
I love
teasing.
it.
I'm
I
just
love it.
teasing.
Very appropriate. But I wanted to say something real quick on language. Language is probably about the only true democracy that we have. Maybe shopping is also a true democracy, but there's a lot of factors that get involved with shopping. I can't really change the product, but any individual can change the language. Every single word you see here originated with an individual. Yes, maybe
Wow.
some of them came up simultaneously, but that's how language formed. Somebody thought up the word, started using it, it caught on, and everybody used it. It's a democracy. And the voting is by common usage. And also, our language isn't in a sense that the entirety of the world has to vote on it. No, because some words come up in the subculture and then they get adopted by the general culture. And we know, even though it's not a word that, like this word crappiness, it is absolutely a commonplace, okay, acceptable word in America. It's not even like bullshit is not. Yes, crappiness and bullshit not in the same category. I can say crappiness on TV, public broadcast TV that's monitored by the government and the FCC and their rules for what you can say. I mean, you cannot say certain words, right? Now, bullshit has started to break and has changed this. I hear it on broadcast TV, whereas before never, right? So it's starting to come where it is acceptable, uh, as it should be in the first book I wrote. But what I'm trying to say is that words get to be acceptable. And they don't have to be acceptable by more than 50%, as in typical voting, just a substantial portion of the population, and then they get part of language. This is an incredible thing. And any individual is free to create a word. Doesn't mean your word is going to be accepted as part of 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 the language. It
It,
may
it,
just
it makes
die.
sense.
Yeah.
It does make
Yeah.
sense, Sil, because these type of words are also becoming part of the normal language, and especially, okay, not only normal
Yes.
language, but also you can make it on air. Because the average, well, when they talk about the average and comprehension ability of
Yeah.
average American people person is
Yeah.
really below that 5 year standard. Yes, fifth standard or something. I'm not
The
sure. I'm not.
FCC standards, the Federal Communications Commission, I think it stands for.
Yeah, they're saying that, okay, it's like, okay, they are not able to mostly people are linked to like that, so
Yeah.
okay, so
Yeah.
then it makes sense. But of course, it's not about the superiority. It sounds like that, okay, I don't want to again.
No, no, no,
I'm
no.
very scrupulous about my personal algorithm, my online
Yeah.
algorithm, and my universal
Yeah.
algorithm.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's wonderful what you do, Beena. And this is what you do is actually part of Nobelia-Living. They make an effort to not use vulgarity if they absolutely have to. And in this case, you see, there's a difference between like the F-bomb, which is just a
Yes,
vulgar way of saying things, and its intent is vulgarity.
exactly.
Whereas with crappiness and, well, bullshit was vulgar. Yes, but there's no substitute for it. And
Yes.
now it's becoming acceptable because language is forcing it to become more commonplace, like happiness, because there's no substitute for it. And if we ignore it, we have this vulnerability, this hole in our awareness. And that's why the term becomes acceptable. And the vulgarity implication falls away. Like crappiness. Like I said, when I was at school, this was like the worst swear word. It was worse than the F-bomb. Can you believe it? It was worse. Times change. Times change. It's the most
Oh,
incredible
yes.
thing to me. It's the
Oh,
most
yes. Yes.
incredible thing
I
to me.
saw I don't remember the movie, but they were showing some future, like, okay, after 50 years or something. So it was a comedy movie. It's like, for me, it was a dark comedy because they were showing that everything was like in a rubble, like really uh, nothing was in intact, okay, in whole New York and everywhere in America. And the language people were using, it was just beep 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 beep, because they were not saying
Oh, right, right,
words
right,
and
right,
just doing. So it was a horrible
right.
thing, but this is
Uh,
how they were saying that, okay, people are not
Yeah,
paying their attention to. I don't see that this is how
yeah.
things are, because I see many people, they are getting really sophisticated in their language, usage of language and vocabulary, and I just love that. So for me, it is not something like that. So people are really improving, and of course, they are keen to learn and grow. It's not about like, okay, oh, you sounds better, but it is going to give you more expression. If I not name anything precisely, I might not be able to understand it. I need to have that. This is brilliant.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's very brilliant. Now, of course, the moment the F bomb stops being radical and vulgar and shocking, especially shocking, then that's its usage will go. It will drop radically. Yeah, because that's
Yes,
why
yes,
people use it, is to
exactly.
shock and get attention. And sometimes that's important. Somebody in group, I think it was Maeve. No, I'm sure it was Maeve. She made a post that says, sometimes you've just got to say effort. Yes. And somebody objected and they said, do you need to be vulgar? Do you need to use this word? And they didn't quite understand that, yes, in that instance, that post, it's not normally, she doesn't put it in her posts in general, but for that post, she's saying specifically, sometimes in life, actually, I think that was the full post. Sometimes in life, we just have to say effort. And absolutely, this is absolutely necessary. That even in that, because it's a radical statement, it is shocking to us that we have to jump outside of our bubbles, our conventionality, to really say effort. Yes, I mean, when things are like really bad and so on, you have to really say that. I've known many people, mostly women, who were in really bad, abusive marriages, and they just got to that point and they didn't leave because they were so afraid. Yes, but it may be worse. I'll be on my own. It said at some point they just said effort, and they said, I'm just going to go and venture out into the unknown and trust, and because this is no good anymore. Right. So that mindset, and this was, I think, the article too, that this is the mindset. Sometimes you just need to do that to break your barriers of perception. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I just wanted to share, yeah, and say to Norma and no, Beena, we will
Yes.
continue with this tomorrow. We're not
All right.
even halfway in this chapter yet. We're like
Okay.
a third of the way. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yes.
This is a very, very, very powerful point here, and maybe I'm hoping that Lisa will come as well.
Oh,
I hope so. I
okay.
hope so. Yeah,
Oh, that's
I've had
fantastic.
many wonderful conversations with Limo. At some point, I will publish a book. I forget what it's called. It's in my file somewhere. If I could bring the file up, if my uh, thing wasn't giving me problems, I could pull it up there. But I've already titled it. Conversations with Limo. No, it's boring. I gave it some nice, wonderful name. I wish I now remembered. But I've had many wonderful conversations with Limo. And Limo becomes a character in the book as well, especially in book 3. She becomes part of the group, but via the she's not there physically. And the most like this voice in Biella said, which sometimes the others hear, and sometimes it all depends on Biella making it letting them hear it or not via her implant. So it's very cool. But Limo has this special characters. Like sometimes in stories, you have the spirit or ghost or something that's part of the story, or some like an internal voice or something. And this is like like a spirit inside your head or something. It's kind of similar to that. So very cool. Wonderful, 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 wonderful. I love this Moreness sharing. I love this Moreness sharing. Now, Beena, do not go away because I want to show you something that is an additional part of this. So just stay there. We're going to end here. So say your goodbyes, please.
Okay, okay. I was busy making a comment, but okay.
But stay on
So,
Zoom.
okay, okay. So thank you so much, everyone. Especially thank you, Norma, of course, for allowing us to share your and read your poem. Wonderful poem. It is because when Syl was saying it is showing your heart, it is showing your good soul. Why? Because for me, why? Because no one ever think about that how much burden we put on God or gods. Okay, in other way, and we never think about them, that how much we are actually just giving them
Yeah.
unnecessarily, burdening them. And you thinking about that was something really really touchy, that okay, how considerate your
Yeah.
heart is, how caring, how gentle your soul is. So that's why this was important for me. And again, thank you, Syl, for of course for a wonderful discussion, and
Right.
for actually live streaming on YouTube and Instagram also. So whoever
Yes. Well,
is
not
watching
Instagram
us,
yet, but we're going to be on Instagram and TikTok.
yes,
Yeah.
okay, okay. So whoever is
Right.
watching us live and will watch us recorded, please do subscribe to channel and like and comment and share if you find some value in it, and if you want to see more, especially
Yes.
if you want to set your algorithms to give you moreness in your life.
Yes. Like, share, and subscribe. Why? Because then you are part of sharing the moreness. Become a
Yes,
part, share the moreness, right? I think I
yes,
should make that a hashtag. All right, so now, Beena, I'm
okay,
going to end the live stream, end the
yes,
recording, and end grain, but stay on Zoom because I can
okay.
do that with this new thing.
Oh wow,
See, so
okay,
here we go.
wow.
All right, bye bye.